We all are aware by now, by the time we finished with Jesus came in the flesh, I'm sure we all know that man does need a savior, isn't it? And we know the reason why. Man does need a savior as a result of what happened in Genesis chapter 3 that distorted the nature of man. You know, in Genesis chapter 3, death occurred to man. God says, you eat it, you will surely die. Serpent says, you eat it, you will not surely die. And they decided to follow the serpent. They ate it, and of course, they surely died. Death occurred the moment that they ate the fruit from the tree. When death occurred to man, death is the greatest restriction, the greatest incapacitation and hindrance that can happen to any living thing. What we call disability sometimes, honestly, it does hinder, but it is, you can't compare the hindrance of blind eyes, for example, lame feet, to death. Death, when it occurs, that is the greatest restriction that human being can have. That's the greatest hindrance to any living being, really. I mean, even plants, once they die, that is complete hindrance, complete incapacitation. When death occurred to man in Genesis chapter 3, that became the greatest hindrance and incapacitation that man has ever and will ever know. The same thing with other living things. But you know, because all the other living things did not carry the breath of God, they were not meant to live forever and all of that. So if a dog died, for example, I mean, if a dog has lived 2, 3, 5 years and it's lived well, if it dies, oh, goodbye dog. If a cat dies, the same thing. If your oak tree should die behind your garden, the same thing. Though they are incapacitated for life, but they are not meant to live forever anyway. So it's the same thing with other living things, but that of man is now different. It's on another scale altogether, because man came in the image of God. So the incapacitation that death brought to man, you cannot compare it with any other living being. You can't compare it at all. For man, death now passed from that moment that man died, death passed on to every human being. So Genesis chapter 3 brought a permanent restriction, a permanent hindrance, a permanent incapacitation to man because of that death that we all picked up. Even though we are moving about, going to work, career people, getting married, doing good things and all of that, these are dead men. It's a dead man going to work. This is a dead man as CEO of a big company. This is a dead man who is king over a nation. This is a dead woman who is prime minister over a country, because death has passed on. Even when we are jubilating and we are happy, oh, my daughter is getting married and we are all doing all that we can do to prepare for wedding. This is a dead woman preparing for a wedding. So the fact that people are moving up and down, doing great things, inventing things, going to the moon and all of that, these are dead people only moving about, because death has already occurred. Genesis 3 has brought a permanent restriction on mankind.